I just want to inform the public that we're in recess from a special session, and we will reconvene after the regular meeting is finished. Let's go to the first item. Let's do Councilman Gelser. I believe you have the Pledge of Allegiance and Invocation.
Please rise and join me for the pledge and the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, please give this council guidance in making good decisions for the citizens of Goodyear. Also, please bring home with safety all the members of our both armed forces and our public servants who go in the face of danger to protect us from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Counselor. And we have no communication items this evening. Now is the time for citizens who would like to address the City Council on any non-agenda items. Do we have any speaker cards? There will be no speaker cards, so then we'll go on down to consent agenda. And I'd like to ask the City Clerk to please read the consent agenda items A through C by title only, please.
Item A, approve draft minutes of a regular meeting held on September 10th, 2012. Adopt Resolution 12-1506, amending the bylaws for the 2025 General Plan Committee, authorizing city manager and/or appropriate staff to take all actions necessary to carry out the intent of the resolution and bylaws and establishing an effective date. Item C, adopt Resolution 12-1505, authorizing the city manager or designee to execute 2 amendments and 1 supplement amending existing intergovernmental agreement CON-CX-0337-05 with the City of Phoenix to share telecommunications infrastructure and facilities relating to the Regional Wireless Cooperative Radio System, RWC.
Thank you. Does anyone from the public wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Does anyone wish from the council to remove an item from the consent agenda? Councilman Gelser?
I would like to do a follow-up on item B. On the General Plan Committee recommendation, and this is more to our lawyer. Rorick, we have the council adopted a policy of citizens can serve on no more than 2 committees, and yet we have asked people who serve on the PIC and the Industrial Development Authority to serve on both these committees because they're similar in functions and they have financial responsibilities. And what I would like to see us do is in the future, could you bring a resolution or whatever the appropriate means are so that these 2 boards / commissions are considered as one when it comes to appointing those citizens to another committee, because we ran into that issue when we looked for general plan people, and the people on the PIC and IDA are serving on those 2 committees at our request, and they are good people, and I don't want to preempt them from serving on another committee. So that is the only reason why I asked for this to be pulled for a minute, or not pulled, but to be discussed, and other than that, I'm fine, Madam Mayor.
Would you respond to how
we can look at that issue? I'm aware of that issue in your policies, and we can re-examine that policy.
But it doesn't prevent us from passing this tonight.
Not tonight.
Not tonight. Okay, so we can pass it tonight, or you say we don't pass it?
We can't pass it tonight.
I couldn't hear what I said.
We can.
Yes.
Yes, thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, then, from council, I would ask for the motion and a second to approve items A through C.
So moved. Second.
Motion was made by Councilman Stipp and a second by Councilman Pizzillo. Could I please have a roll call?
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano?
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Gelzer?
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Osborne?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
Passes 7-0.
Tonight, there were no items on the business, so let's go quickly to the information items. Does council have any comments about events and activities that you've done? Councilman Stipp?
I get to be the first.
Yes.
We had the Special Olympics this weekend, softball tournament done by our police department. Great event. Just about all of us were there. Good. It was good support from the community. Chief, I'm sure we'll see something later on that, but it was a great first for us at our ballpark.
I call him Officer Eric. I hope you don't mind. Do you mind coming up and just giving us a kind of an overview, because it was very moving and a job well done. So please take the microphone. We call him Eric and Eric. Okay.
EW squared.
Yeah, that's good.
Mayor Lord, council members, this past Saturday, the City of Goodyear and the Police Department partnered with Special Olympics of Arizona to host the first annual All-Star Tournament. We had over 55 athletes that arrived and participated in the event itself. Before the athletes actually took the field, Grand Canyon University softball team showed up and provided special clinics for the individuals prior to even taking the field. Each team got to host a couple different games themselves. After the games, they were able to participate in a home run derby, which was evidently the success of their day. At the end of the day, the Sluggers, local West Valley team, took on the Goodyear Police Department team. Unfortunately, the police department was not able to hold on, and the Sluggers beat the Goodyear Police Department team 15-13. And then each one of them, at the end of the day, got their medals and stuff, and they were extremely excited. And I got to be honest with you, at the end of the day, they did a little trash talking against us, and rightfully so. I couldn't have done it without Officer Webster. Both of us partnered together. He's got a few numbers and sponsors he wants to tell you guys about.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, we are very pleased with the turnout. We had a huge support from Desert Edge High School. They had their softball teams, baseball teams, wrestling
Would you come
teams.
closer to the microphone thing?
Yes, ma'am. We were very happy with Desert Edge. They came out, huge supporter of the day. We had softball team, baseball teams, a wrestling team, and several other staff members as well. Grand Canyon University softball team, their girls were out there all day long. Hosting clinics is wonderful. We had Hilgers Orthodontics and Pediatric Dental. Huge. They supported us. They actually sponsored the fireworks display. And then the very own Goodyear Police Officer Association, also a major contributor. With all that being said and done, with the volunteer hours, in-kind donations, and cash raised, we raised $30,000.
Wow.
Wow. Well, we also had two motorcycle groups, right?
We did. As a matter of fact, we had the Christian Brothers came out in big support, and we had
That's the yellow shirts, right?
the Buffalo Soldiers in the yellow shirts.
Yeah.
So both of them came out, supported some of the heat with their motorcycles. Just so you know, the guy in the blue motorcycle gets about 9 miles to the gallon, and he can only go about 30 miles.
And then we also had our antique cars. We had two antique cars
Did have
out there
two
at the
antique
entry.
cars that were able to come out
And then so you
from
didn't
Pebble
notice when they
Creek.
flash it, and that was, and they really enjoyed that, to have their picture taken by those automobiles. So it was great done. Well, it was a great job, and we thank you. And so this is going to be traditional now. We're going to continue with that.
We're planning on this being an annual event for us, and the Special Olympics Arizona was extremely excited, and the athletes, so they're looking forward to. I think there's some teams already finding out they're a little jealous that they didn't get in on it
Yeah.
early enough to participate. So next year, I have a feeling it's going to be a lot bigger.
Now, tell us how many hours that you spent out there, and the day ended up very warm. We thought the temperature was going to be lower than it was, and it wasn't. So tell us how many hours that were spent out there that
Eric
day.
and I got there about 6 o'clock in the morning, and by the time we left, it was about 8:30 at night.
Right.
Heading towards 9 o'clock. It was a long day. We were
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah.
I don't think we moved too much yesterday.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But
There's a lot that led up to that. There's a lot of moving parts to this, a lot of logistics, trying to just get things in place to make this all come off without a hitch. And we were very happy with the way it went off.
That was obvious by the success of it, that it was very well pre-planned, and we appreciate that, right? So one more round of applause for this group. Thank you. The other thing I want to mention, I had to give a welcoming speech at the ballet, Arizona Ballet, up at Australia. It was magnificent. They're doing 7 performances throughout the valley, so I want to tell the public to look at the websites and find out where they're going to perform next, because it's free and well done. And a sidebar to it, a family sitting in front of us had a little 3-year-old girl, and obviously she had had ballet because she danced through the whole performance. And she did pirouettes, and she did positioning, and she threw herself on the ground, and she got back up again. And so we made sure that we told her parents that we got a double feature that night, not only the ballet, but this little 3-year-old. And it was just a delight. So it was 2 great activities in the city. So we'll go to the manager. Do you have anything?
I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
Oh, I missed. Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought you were coming down the road.
And you know why? Because I'm the last to talk, and I interrupted. I apologize to that. Boy, I'm a big mouth tonight, aren't I? All right. Councilman Campbell?
Okay, thank you. Last week was a very busy week. I attended the groundbreaking ceremony for Colonnade and Sun Health in Surprise. I attended the Three Rivers Historical Society, and Sharma and I think it's Bill Hickman were there as the guest speakers.
yeah.
And the funniest story is that I had run into Supervisor Max Wilson at the groundbreaking ceremony, and I said, I'll see you at 3 o'clock because you're talking to our Historical Society. So I get to the Historical Society, and the Hickmans are there to speak. And then I found out they couldn't have Supervisor Wilson because he's a candidate, and they don't let candidates speak. But he came anyway, which I thought was nice. But I wanted to thank the city manager for the IT help and for Lana coming down and helping us get the presentation going. They brought their own equipment, but it wasn't working properly, and it was wonderful that they helped us. The General Plan Committee had a meet and greet that we met all of the folks that were finalists, and it was a very great meeting and an opportunity for us to hear what our residents had as visions, and Councilmember Stipp and Councilmember Gelser and I thoroughly enjoyed that meeting. And then on Thursday, I attended the Centennial Committee Barbecue Cook-Off planning session meeting, and also Historic Goodyear Alliance meeting with Councilmember Stipp. And then, oh yes, and on Friday I went to the GPEC Ambassador event at the Chandler Innovations Asset Tour, and it was wonderful to see the incubator. It was absolutely
you're
wonderful.
one step closer to being certified?
I'm already
Are you
certified.
certified? Okay.
Yes,
All
thank
right.
you.
Okay.
And they missed you, Mayor. They told me to tell you.
Oh, that was very nice. Thank you. Any other, Vice Mayor?
I have a couple. I'll just kind of say the highlights of a couple of items. And one was, gee darn, you were out of town that I had to go for you for. But thank you. And that was hearing the former president of Mexico, Vicente Fox, and having a dinner. I was 2 tables away from him. But he was a great speaker, a very warm-hearted man, and just listening to, economic developments and with Mexico, and just the general feeling of kind of the, I don't know, how should I say it, how he felt about his people and how he felt of the region of North America itself. And also, last weekend, I spent a Saturday at ASU I was selected to be on their biodiversity conference, and this was the worldwide views of biodiversity across the world. And everyone that was being part of this actually was doing it within 1 day's time. So, I forget what all the countries were, but it was led by the Danish. And this was pretty much on how our environment and our people and our animals, all work together in harmony. And that was a very interesting conference. And lastly, today, Aging in Place was a conference that MAG had going on. And actually, the information that comes from all of these stakeholders and nonprofits for people that are 65 years and older will be great information for us as a city, being that the fact that we're only 10% built out, and knowing that that age bracket continues to grow. Right now in the Valley, we have 462,000 people that are over the age of 65. And by 2020, it should be 700,000. And it's something that, as we look at our general plan, we should have kind of that background information and looking how we're going to, as a city, move forward with that kind of population. And then I had a MAG meeting today at the Continuum of Care on homelessness, and actually it was a pretty big deal that we were able to finally pass performance measures on all of the HUD funding that comes down from Hearth. And so that was kind of a big deal.
Great, thank you. And Joanne, Vice Mayor, I appreciate you taking my place for the week so that I was able to take some time off. It was most appreciative. Anybody else?
I'll just be very brief. I had the opportunity to hear Terry Clark from the Arizona Director of Literacy, and I talked to Brian about this, about us becoming a read-on city, that we put emphasis on third grade reading proficiency, because that is with a new library opening up, and this is something that costs no money, and that we can do is show that we support literacy. So I talked to Brian about that. I want to let the council know about that. It's a good thing with the new library coming on. And then the other thing, I just want to let everyone know, it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October, as long as Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Great. Well, thank you. Any other? All right, City Manager, it's your show. Go ahead.
Mayor, members of the council, you hit on some of the points, and Special Olympics, I couldn't agree more. That was just a great event to see the expression on the kids. Well, they're not all kids, but on the faces of those that participated. It was priceless. The Ballet Under the Stars, just a couple of factoids is we hear that word coming about these days. The event was hosted by the city, Newland and Ballet Arizona. We also had students from Estrella Mountain Elementary that were there as well.
They actually performed.
They performed, yes. And 2,000 were in attendance. We thought we'd only have about 1,000, 1,500, but we had 2,000. So from that standpoint, very successful. A lot of people involved. Diane Kripe with the city was a liaison for Ballet Arizona, and we, of course, police, parks, communications, and traffic were heavily involved too. So great event. That was exciting as well. A lot was already talked about Special Olympics. And then we had a perfect game tournament. If you drove down towards the development complexes where the Cincinnati Reds development complex is in Indians, we had perfect game tournament. It's underclassmen that really showcase their talents. 50 teams from across the country were there, so that's a big deal, getting those top national recruits here to our city. We continue to strive to be a destination for a lot of those amateur events. And that's just another reinforcement of how we pull that off. So,
and how long were they here? Did they?
It was Nathan, the entire weekend.
Okay.
And they, attracts hundreds of teams outside of spring training with all of our events, and a lot of those are multi-night stays here in the city, staying at the hotels. But yes, this one was over the weekend.
Great.
That's all I have.
All right, right. And of course, I know there was one inquiry for staff to get back to us on, and that's Gary's request. I just wanted to be sure we have that down.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yes.
great. All right, any other inquiries of staff of council okay? Well, the next meeting then is going to be on October 1st. I'm going to adjourn this meeting, and we're going back to reconvene in our special meeting. So meeting adjourned.